This module serves as a basic overview of the life model. We are using the life model infographic to aid viewers in understanding the bigger picture of the model and all it has to offer.
In this first module of Life Model Informed Therapy, you'll learn all about why the life model is so powerful. The life model is a beautiful and unusual blend of neurology and theology, or neurotheology, as the life model has coined it. What is neurotheology? Well, neurotheology takes the theological, anthropological work that many experts have done in the past, and the life model enlivens it with theoretical ideas, and it applies cutting-edge neuroscience.
You will be hearing testimony of the life model's effectiveness from therapists from all over the world, an interview with Dr. Lehman and Dr. Wilder.
Very different approach, but it was just marvelous for everybody's life. And if you build joy, and it's pretty hard to not want to go home and build joy with every people you know, or go to church and build joy with people. So basically becoming very alive as a therapist, being burnt out. I used to say when I first started, I work in the sewers of the world, it's spend my whole day back there. Now I work on the interface with God, and it's a whole different experience to have.
I have to think more systematically about this to make sure there's not some small exception, but I think that has been the single most positive force in my entire life, is to systematically build a secure attachment with the tangible interactive presence of Jesus. Now, that's a big deal, for the therapist or the recipient. If you build and earn secure attachment with the living presence of Jesus, and that becomes the foundation of your life, everywhere you go, everything you do is going to get better.
As well as testimonials of the life model's effectiveness in our personal and professional lives from Kyle and myself.
So as I think back on my life, regarding my life model story, right? I was a Christ follower from a very early age. At that point, I didn't realize that I had a neurodivergent brain. But now that I think back on it, I wonder at that point how I was making sense of these really hard questions that came from those maxims, those phrases. How was I really supposed to know Christ if I couldn't see him? Sometimes I just felt overwhelmed by it because I was taught things completely differently. And so that really created this tension for me.
And so often it's like how we were being modeled it is how we're taking in and how we're applying.
Absolutely. And particularly those latter parts, those really only started to come to fruition recently. I think about how the monikers and the mysteries that I was referencing as a part of my early experience, how they led me to allow God to end up using tools in my life like psychology, like graduate school, like the life model, to become this cipher, to reveal to me the Bible's mysteries. And that's been so invaluable to me. I think about, the lens now that I view Scripture and Christ through, and in particular, life model. It's been more helpful than anything to help my imperfect human brain understand God's perfect design. I know that there's still lots of gaps for me, right? But through the life model, I've had this opportunity to be more capable than ever of learning how to better understand Scripture, how to more adequately follow Jesus, and how to love and serve others more fully. As I developed in my life model skills, and I started to actually utilize what was prescribed in the life model, I realized that I related to others more like Jesus encouraged. I think about how I could interact with him, and I can interact with him, and about how those brain changes and relational skills have fully impacted me.
You saw yourself being transformed
into
his image.
Yes.
And my personal identity group, my personal group of therapists that I've been walking with for the last 8 years. You will also hear therapist Zoom interviews, a compilation of those.
You could be in the space of someone acting their worst and still be your best. I want that. On a good day, I'm in control of me. So I felt like this was giving that next step to what that looked like.
Well, for me, it's all the brain skills, the relational skills, because mean, I came out of a people of the lie family growing up that was completely loveless, severe type A trauma. And although I grew a lot becoming a therapist, those skills have transformed me, not only to be more like Christ, but for us to have a better relationship together. I mean, all kinds of things change relational for me. There's just beyond description, but I would say it flows. It just flows. I don't know how to describe it because it's who I am now and who I'm still becoming.
It helps people understand that we cannot do this alone. And I think in America or the Western culture in general, we're so focused on the individual. And, the power of our maturity is found in our individuation. But in reality, that's not how God created us. He created us for community. Even God can recognize that He created us for connection and that we thrive in community. Then the United States has it all wrong.
So I work there, me and Anna, and then you see clients as a prayer minister or the prayer counseling. So kind of Emmanuel prayer. That's where I say, Jim, like, I need to learn from you. Where are you going? So then while I'm learning from him, it was very interesting, Carl Lemon, because he was already put things in before the book came out. There was a lot of writings that he put it on a website, read and study. And there was one line that really caught my eyes. When you are experience attunement, you feel seen and heard and cared for, or something like that. It's like that, feel and seen and maybe careful. And then he just explained more attunement in a very methodological way. And from there, something in me at the time, I was thinking, I'm very interested in my Korean American people. They go see a therapist, but their prayer life is not necessarily therapeutic and healing. So in that, since I was a therapist, I was really drawn to the idea of how can I help Korean American clients prayer life? How can they interact with God as a divine therapist?
And you'll then hear Kyle and I discussing the infographic, the what should have happened section, the what is happening section, as well as the what could happen section.